Now, so on your site, it says that communities and institutions around the world are accelerating Bitcoin and Lightning adoption using Galoy, an open source banking platform. Can you highlight some of the communities and companies that are using Galoy today? I know Bitcoin Beach is the prominent example, but are there any others? Can you talk about some of the neobanks and banks that you're working with? I'd love to give people a better picture of like what the state of Galoy adoption is today among banks and communities around the world.
Yeah, so currently our customers are primarily in Latin America. So beyond Bitcoin Beach wallet, the second wallet that launched using our code base is Bitcoin Jungle in Costa Rica. There is a third project that is work in progress that should be released in a month or two called Guat in Panama. So it's a Bitcoin bank, like it's a neo bank if you want, dedicated to Bitcoin in Panama. And you can go to quad.io, I believe. And yeah, they will be releasing their product in a month or two. There are other projects that are building on our stacks that are not public. It takes some months to develop your own wallet system. So, and it's also the interesting part, it's open source. So we know that some companies start building on top of our system, and like they don't necessarily need our help. They can do it themselves if they wanted to. But there are other projects in Latin America that are building on our stack that are not public. And yeah, there is also some, I guess, ongoing discussion in Africa, which is probably Latin America and Africa are the two places where we see most potential in the short term for our product and generally, Lightning adoption.
And are these? I know Bitcoin Beach was its own kind of thing that just spun up in El Salvador. It was not a bank before onboarding to Bitcoin. I want to understand is the customer you're looking for, is this an existing financial institution, or is it like a community that could spawn into a financial institution over time? Because I think the idea of like communities and companies, those are very different things, right? Like the Bitcoin Beach community is very different from a neobank in America. So who's the target audience for you guys among those two?
I mean, that's a great question. If you think about them, they don't necessarily. They might need the same type of software in the background, right? Even though they will serve different customers and they will have different marketing, and both of them they will want a core ledger where they can have for each customer, how much Bitcoin they have, how much Bitcoin they send and receive. Maybe the difference will be, okay, a project in the US will have a fiat access, to a bank, and you will be able to buy and sell Bitcoin from your bank account. Maybe in El Salvador it might be a requirement also, like a need, but maybe less so because there is less people with bank accounts. There is a lot of ATM in El Salvador now, so you can also buy Bitcoin with cash. But overall, if you look at the requirement from those, at least our hypothesis is that our software can meet the need of both of them, right? And so there is, of course, some customization. Okay, like you typically Stablesats assume that okay, we are creating like a synthetic dollar. If you're in the US, you might not want to use Stablesats. You might want to have like sats backed by dollar in a bank account. But similarly, you might still want to send and receive money from your dollar account over Lightning, like the Strike model, right, that you have in the US. But it's also something that we can build with our system. So there will be some differences in how you do the trading, but it's the type of thing that we want to enable.
Hmm.
And
Now,
maybe one of the main difference, but this is not necessarily on our side as a software company, is that a project in the US will have a lot more compliance requirement, a lot more, they will need to get licensing, but us as a software company, like, it's not necessarily our job to get the license and to meet with the regulator and things like that. Like, this will be the project themselves who lead that basically.